the Cemetery Gates podcast, featuring Xander and Android virus. Hey, welcome to the Cemetery Gates podcast. I am Android Virus, joined by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Xander Kane.
Good evening, and welcome to the show.
Good evening to you, sir. We decided to go back to the schlock this episode.
That we did.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. Very happy to discuss our movies that we are going to do. So it should be a lot of fun. But what have you been up to, man? Everything good? Everything going okay in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, man. Just work's been busy, and gotten both my second vaccination now. So.
Oh, how are you feeling?
I didn't have any. I mean, I was tired, but outside of that,
right.
That's and like it, there's like a weird head fog.
Sure.
But, like other than that, it's just head fog and tired. So.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
You'll take it. There you have it. Yeah, I think mine's early May sometime. I don't know how you have to do like in 2 weeks or something like that.
It depends on the shot. Pfizer's 3 weeks and Moderna is 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, Moderna. Okay, yeah. So I had my Moderna a week. So I'll have another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Another 3 weeks on mine. So yeah, I felt a little funky the next day after mine. Just no appetite, a little foggy, like you said.
Yeah.
But nothing too bad. My wife didn't feel a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
On either one of her shots. I'm like, you fucking. I always call her a rhino. She's the type of chick that could drink a cup of coffee, like a big cup of strong coffee, and she'll fucking sleeping a half hour later.
Yeah, I can do that with coffee.
Can you?
Yeah.
I'm up all night. I'm up 1 cup. I'm up all night, dude.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, it keeps me awake, but it doesn't like. I can still always go to sleep, just because. Almost always, I should say.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I stay away from it. It's just I would be the worst dude to hang out with. Yeah, yeah, dude. Like late 10:30, I'm ready for bed. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Good night. Fuck y'all. What? Peace. Yep. Peace. So yeah, man, I've been checking some movies out. We kind of do our little what you've been watching segment here on this show. And I was back into Clarice for a minute, and then I got out of it. I just got really bored with it.
Yeah, and then you guys said you were like, nah. You guys tapped out at episode 4 or something like that?
Yeah, and then my wife's like, maybe we should watch it again. Then we watched another couple episodes, and I was like, ugh.
It's still just not fun.
No, it's not. Yeah. I ended up checking out that new Ed Gein ghost documentary. I don't know if you're...
Oh, I forgot about it.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Really, really cool. I mean, as much as you believe in those ghost documentaries,
right?
So it was pretty decent. I mean, of course, like the whole allure of it is they're doing little ghost hunts and EVP sessions and all those little, they're just going. They went to his old property where his house was.
Right.
They're like the first ones allowed to be there, I guess. Whatever whoever owns it, you know what I mean? Whoever owns the land, and they're like, obviously, naturally, Ed Gein's ghost and his mom are contacting them in their little spirit boxes and all that stuff. And then they go to, all kinds of other places. Um, and the whole thing of the show is Ed Gein's ghost is following them all over town.
It kind of seems silly when you explain it that way.
Yeah. It's like, okay, all right. So, um, it was all right. It's
Well,
TV.
where'd you watch it on?
Discovery Plus.
Oh, okay, so Discovery Plus.
So
Gotcha.
like every location they went to, the jailhouse that Ed Gein was in, the other fucking thing that they another place that he murdered some lady in an old hardware store that's still up. It's like every EVP session or every little session they did. I feel like his ghost. He's following us around town.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen? Speaking of Discovery Plus, have you seen the Jack Osborne show on there?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Portals from Hell.
Yeah.
That's. I watched the first episode and was like, oof. I can't. Like the girl has like this translating speaker or something. It's just. It's
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah. Like a spirit box. It's all raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so like I don't know. It feels very over dramatic and silly to me. So I don't know. I couldn't get behind it. I tried watching one. I don't know. Have you watched any of them?
I have watched every single one.
Have you really?
Yes.
I
Yes.
couldn't get over that stupid box. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, okay. I just called
Blah, blah, blah,
bullshit
blah,
from the
blah,
beginning.
blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that I love those ghost shows. I'm a sucker. I'm gonna admit, like I know that a lot of them are pretty mostly fake, but I love them. I don't know what it is.
I like the
Um,
OG Ghost Hunters back in the day, but I always liked that because like they were like skeptics. They were like their first thing to do was to debunk it, and a lot of times early on in the show they debunked damn near everything. Like nope, which I thought was a cool. Before that nobody was really doing that. It was just like, oh, this place is haunted. Let's go check it out. Ah, it's the spirit of somebody from 1750. They're pissed. And then ghost hunters get in there, like, nah, it's actually your air vent duct that's blowing like, your
cold
vents
air.
yeah, cold air, but your vents like missing a nail, so it's making this like really weird sound.
Yeah.
Like,
So
but
it
yeah,
it 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 was. I like those shows.
yeah.
Some of them are more creepier than others. So what else have I been checking out? I watched yeah, man, like I ended up watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which one?
The old one again. It was
Oh,
just a
you
rewatch.
know, there was something in one of the movies we watched for the show tonight. There's a scene, and I was like, oh, and it kind of made me want to watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I haven't seen it in so long. I was like, oh, maybe I'll pop that in.
Oh, it's so gritty and fucking just gross. One of
Yeah,
the twins sat in the room with me and watched it, and we're just like, ugh.
yeah.
Like it's a rough one, man. It is super
Yeah,
rough.
especially knowing like all the shit that happened like on set and how hot it was and like everybody
Mhm.
was fucking miserable.
As a matter of fact, I got a question that I'm gonna answer in some upcoming Android Vision episode where they're asking about was there ever any real blood used on the set, and other than like pig's blood, it's rumored that Texas Chainsaw Massacre used a lot of pig's blood.
Right.
Um, I couldn't really find anything, like any movies that had blood used in it, like real blood. I mean, I know that there's some movies like Night of the Bloody Apes. There's like a real open heart surgery footage in it,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
that's like archival university footage or some shit I think from
Right.
that one.
But for stage purposes, I couldn't find shit, man, for that movies that were real blood was used in.
Yeah.
Um, other than probably animal blood, but that's even fucking like, ugh. You ever been to a Watain concert?
Then you got
It's
covered something.
it stinks. Not the music, but just they use real animal blood. You could just tell they just get like pig's blood from the butcher block or something. It's fucking.
Yeah.
And then I know it's funny. I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall here, but we got a request last week, Android Vision, to do a Galaxy of Terror. So we did Galaxy of Terror, and I just kind of looked up some interesting facts about the movie. We talked about it a little bit, but I never really I skimmed through it, but I never really sat down and watched it.
Yeah.
And so I finally watched it the other night, just all the way through, on the show. And so yeah, I watched Galaxy of Terror for the first time. So that
I
was
own that, and I've never watched it. So
it's a trip, man. It's a trip. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse than what it was.
yeah, but I like those weird, like spacey horror flicks, sci-fi flicks from kind of that era. There's a lot of
It
really
is.
off the wall, kind of weird ones that are just enjoyable. So
It's strange. It's basically they're just on a planet that you die. The planet is alive, I guess. It's weird, and you died by your own worst fears. So somehow the consciousness of the planet gets in your head. It's fucking weird. It's not very well explained, but I don't know. So what have you been checking out, brother?
dude, so I just recently. There's been a lot of buzz about a flick that's up on Shutter now. It just came on Shutter like last Friday, I think. And it's called Boys from County Hell,
Hmm.
which is like it's a vampire flick that is just super fun, man. It's like has elements of like humor, but it also takes, the whole story is that Bram Stoker was actually in this town in Ireland, and this is what he was there, and that's what the folklore in this particular town inspired the Dracula story. So, it's in the movie they're taking the idea of like, oh, this is like, where Dracula was created, but it just has a completely different take on the vampire genre, like mythos and stuff. Anyways, but it was just fun as hell, man. It was so good. Like, there's a lot of great gore scenes in it. It was just a blast, and I highly recommend it. I don't see a scenario where it doesn't wind up in my like top 10 of the year horror wise. It was really good, really really good. And outside of that, I got a bunch of uh, Warner Archive movies because
Yeah,
they did a big 4 for $44 sale.
I saw that shit, dude.
Yeah,
Saw your
and
post on that.
yeah, and I picked up Bad Ronald, which is just a fucking weird movie about a kid who accidentally kills a little girl in the neighborhood, and he freaks out and like buries her,
Mm.
and then goes home and tells his like kind of weird eccentric mom what he did, and she's like, "Ah, you fucked it up. Now, if you just would have went to the cops and told him it was an accident, we wouldn't be in this position." And so she convinces him that he's got to lay low, and so they basically build a fake wall in the house, and he hides in this like room that's hidden by a wall with like a secret door in the pantry, and he just lives in this fucking room by himself, unseen, for like a few weeks. But then his mom has to go get a procedure done at the hospital, and she dies, and he's stuck in the wall, and he's got to try to figure out what the fuck to do because now the house is up for sale and new people move in. So he's trying to like coexist in the walls with these people. It was weird as fuck, but it was good. It was really
Huh.
good.
Interesting.
And then another one was that I watched was called from the Warner Archive was Phantom of Hollywood, which was a really cool TV movie from back in the day, and it was, and I think it was like in the mid 70s.
Hmm.
But it's about an old studio that's getting like tore down because at that time people wanted location. I guess it's probably like a relevant like thing in Hollywood where there was an era where everything was on sets, and then the slow shift was like, well, they're just going to film on location. So like the studios didn't have a use for these old sets, and so this one particular company sells this like section of studio off, and there's like a guy that is like, I don't know, he's not haunting it, but he's like, no, he doesn't want him to sell it, so he winds up killing people and shit. And it was really cool. It was pretty damn cool.
It's like your typical. I'm looking at pictures of it now. He looks really cool with like
Yeah,
his mace. He looks like a medieval type of dude.
yeah, it looks weird,
It
but
looks
they
cool.
one of the really things I really loved about it actually was at the beginning. So they're showing like the abandoned like Hollywood sets, right? And then they take like actual footage from a movie that was filmed there on that set, and they like kind of do like a back-to-back edit on it, so you see what it was, and then now you see what it is now in its abandoned form. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that looks like it might be kind of close to my jam, dude. That movie looks
It's
great.
Yeah, it's it's nothing. It's not like absolutely amazing, but I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, and I was like, huh, I'm glad that I picked that one up. So, because I have the forever fear of like movies disappearing from this earth forever. And
Well,
so
it's
when
gonna happen.
Warner Archive was like, oh, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm like, well, fuck, you can't get that movie anywhere else. Like, so if they go out of business or do whatever the fuck they're doing, I don't know if they're. I know they're not starting a streaming service, but they're not gonna do on-demand discs anymore.
Yeah.
That they are putting out some releases. I just don't know. They've been kind of mum on exactly what the plan is, but they were like, "This is the last sale," so I bought like 8 movies,
Yeah, it's
in
kind of
fear of
weird.
that I would never be able to get them again. Like I'll never have physical copies, so I snagged up the stuff that I didn't have, and
That's why, like, I'm a huge proponent, whether or not, I mean, I know we're definitely in a different, like, cultural environment these days, and I know some movies, obviously could never be made today with the type of environment we're in, and and that's fine, but the thing about it is there are also some movies, for, I think, cultural purposes, and just to collect them and to see that shit doesn't, oh, they always got to be remembered, and they got to be curated, and my fear is, it was really funny. I was watching it was Joe Bob Briggs, and he went off on this big old tangent about, like, getting uploaded to a cloud.
yeah,
And even though he's like, why, he's all about DVDs and Blu-rays. He goes, why the fuck would you collect a fucking VHS? The copies are horrible. But, like, still, but still, it's just as I have it, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
um, and I was reading another article about how, if things go up to a cloud, it's the Blockbuster concept, right? Because Blockbuster was owned by, like, some right wing Christian type of group or people minded, and they were really, notorious for editing their movies.
right,
And it's like, fuck. And Blockbuster, back in the '90s, was taking over the world as
right.
far
It's
as
like
rentals were concerned. And then they had the fucking juice and the power to go and fucking edit movies. And this environment that we live in now, it's not necessarily, I'm not trying to get on a political fucking
yeah,
pulpit here, but you kind of got the opposite side of the spectrum where they're not Christian, but a lot of people are like, hey, we don't want stuff with the N word, well, rape and this and this and this and this, and I get that, but who's to say that if this stuff gets uploaded to a cloud, that somebody up there who
it's going to
just,
determine what you're watching.
yeah,
What
yeah,
version
and
of it are you getting?
right, right, man. And it's like, no, I mean, you should have the choice to see what you want to see.
Yeah,
You should at least have that choice. I mean,
right.
for the longest time, I never watched Cannibal Holocaust just because I'm a huge animal lover,
Yeah,
and I've just heard the stories of, they fucking, deshell a turtle in it. They fucking do this, they do that. And I'm like, you know, I, I finally ended up watching it, and it made me feel really uncomfortable, but I didn't agree with it. You know what I mean? I think that
yeah,
sucks, and I didn't like that. I don't, but whatever, but so it's the same thing, I mean, I spit on your grave. That's it's super rough.
yeah,
Nobody wants to watch that, but it's the same thing. I think it's just super. Gotta collect that physical fucking media, dude.
yeah,
Gotta do it. Gotta do
yeah,
it.
yeah. I
If you,
was. Yeah, that's like what my collection is now. Is like those weird one-off things. Like mostly, like I don't own a copy of Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street or stuff like that. It's just non-existent. No, I mean most of it's non-existent in my collection. Like that stuff is so readily available. If I ever wanted it, I could get it.
yeah, in 2 seconds, and
Yeah.
unedited.
Right. And now I'm
Uh,
like, ooh, let me snag that in Phantom of Hollywood.
yes, yes, yeah. I try to get some stuff into my little collection too. I mean, I got the stuff that I'm like, yes, I know I'm completely being a complete glutton by buying, like, Blade Runner 1 and 2 on fucking Blu-ray because I love those movies, and Aliens and all that because I just think they're fucking beautiful, and and I like the way they look on my TV on a fucking Blu-ray player. Yeah, but there's other ones, man, that that Arrow puts out some really fucking obscure shit too, and pick them up, buy them. And if I ever fucking come across VHSs in the secondhand store here, I'm automatically fucking finding shit in the horror section.
Yeah.
Like just I'm buying them. Yeah, fuck, they're like a quarter a piece, dude. They sell them for super cheap.
Yeah.
In the secondhand stores. All right, guys. So enough of our rant about physical medium and people controlling what you can see. Let's go ahead and listen to the trailer for my film that we picked because I really want to deep dive into yours. Fucking loved yours. Okay, I'm just all right. You don't have to listen to our review; just know Virus loves it. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and listen to the trailer for my pick, which is gonna be 1988's horror film "Don't Panic," and we'll be right back.
So, are you ready, Michael?
Yeah.
One, two, three!
Promise never to play with the Ouija board again.
Hey, you guys. Maybe he's right. We shouldn't play this game.
Bitching, Tony.
All right, guys, you went ahead and listened to that trailer for 1988's Don't Panic. And dare I say, before I picked this, didn't even know it was a blind pick. Didn't I just I crank the wheel of
the roulette?
The roulette. And ping. Let's just watch this. Yeah, it's a Mexican horror movie, which was really surprising, which was really cool. So it's a nice, but dubbed in, obviously.
Yeah. And it's kind like it is, but it doesn't. Like I was second guess. I was like, was this actually filmed in Mexico City? But I didn't look that up. So,
well, the thing about it is it was, but I like the way they spun it. So let's talk about it. So basically, it starts off it's in Mexico and it's placed in Mexico because the kid in it's his birthday. It's a 17-year-old. He's turning 17. And the way they kind of explained it, he's an American and going to school in Mexico.
Right. With another group of American kids that are in the same school, kind of doing the same thing. I assume that he is. It's like an international school or something, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, so basically what it is, on his 17th birthday, this kid, Michael, his friends are celebrating it. One of the, they're just normal fucking kids. And then Michael is given a present by his friend Tony. And they're like, oh, what do you know? Show everybody you're cool enough to do the Ouija board, So they all kind of do a Ouija board. And Michael's mom, they kind of have a little bit of a backstory of her being an alcoholic. And let me tell you, I'm going to draw a lot of comparisons between this and Nightmare on Elm Street. If you don't see it, I don't know about you.
I don't think I will hear you out. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So, it's just okay. So my first thing was like the mom's kind of a drunk.
Okay. I'm following.
Okay. You got that? So she's like,
okay.
Ah.
I also love at the beginning with the mom. They do these really, I think they're great, like these long dramatic camera pauses. Like
Okay.
the mom's like laying on the bed looking at the bottle of
Uh,
vodka or whatever it is,
yeah.
and it pans back to her, and she's like longingly looking at the bottle of vodka across the room.
So now let me tell you, that's a totally because the movie's directed by Ruben Galindo Jr. and he's Mexican and that's a total like Mexican cinema type of dramatic thing. Like if you've watched like novelas are
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
like
totally felt like a soap opera.
yeah, Mexican soap
Yeah,
opera. So it's
yeah,
like a total novella like and it had that feel to it too. But um so Tony, like basically okay, so Michael's the main character, and mom gets pissed that all of him and his friends are fucking doing the Ouija board. Everybody get the fuck out, and he kind of falls in, he's kind of infatuated with this one chick who's very beautiful,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
but like I said, the unibrow took me out a little bit. It was very noticeable. She had the Frida thing going on, you know.
Yeah, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, she had the Frida Kahlo thing going on, and that's okay. Like I didn't fuck me up. You know what I mean? The Frida Kahlo thing. But anyways,
She also had like wavy, poofy hair too, so it was like a wall on the forehead, and then the unibrow.
yeah. So
There was a lot of tension being drawn to the to her hair.
Yes. So they do the Ouija board, and at the session, his buddy Tony is using a name known to him as Virgil. Right, so we got Virgil, but it's not like Freddy. It's like it feel like they were trying to evoke, the Jason, Freddy, Michael type of thing. But this one was Virgil, and they open up some evil shit in the Ouija board, and it kind of goes into this kid. He's having visions of his friends getting killed.
Right.
It's just kind of the running theme throughout the movie.
Yeah, which is really cool when it's happening. Like his eyes turn blood red, and I thought that was just cool. And
Yeah.
he can't see anything else. He's just like stumbling around, like kind of panicking at what he's seeing in his head, and then also like kind of like helplessly falling against shit and trying to escape what he's seeing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is. And whenever like something happens, it's like he gets entranced and his eyes turn red. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have no idea how he jumped out of that window later on in the movie, but because he was having one of those visions and he couldn't see and he's running the wall, and all of a sudden he like did an Olympic jump out the window. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And he's got this kind of he's kind of got this thing where he loves this girl, or like he has this love interest, and he's talking to his buddy Tony, and Tony's like, hey, if you really love her, give her a flower, it'll prove your love to her. And he's like, yeah, okay. So he gives her a flower, but sees her with another dude after they spent the day together ditching high school, so his feelings are really hurt.
Yeah. Because like was the day before was when they had like the epic breakfast adventure. Like they skip school and like go to a park. Like they have a day. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off with him and this girl. So that's why he's so smitten with her. And then he sees her with another dude, and he's like just crushed.
Right. Yeah, he's just like so hurt. But like, let's just kind of like take a little second out of here and let's talk about the pajamas, Xander.
The 30-year-old and 4-year-old pajamas.
Yes. What the
Playing
fuck?
a 17. Okay, so like he's got these pajamas. We'll paint the picture for you guys. So you guys know those pajamas that have like the kind of ribbed at the ankles and ribbed at the wrists, and like a solid collar. He's got these blue ones with blue sleeves and blue pants and like a white shirt with fucking dinosaurs all over it. Like all over it. And this dude somehow, and that it's so, he is in it so often in the movie, it's just fucking weird the whole time. I'm like, why is this grown-ass man running around in these dinosaur pajamas throughout the entirety of the movie?
Yeah, and then they're off and on, which is really weird. Like sometimes he's wearing them, sometimes he's not. And it's like, you go to sleep in these toddler pajamas? Like it's like the type of pajamas I had like when I was a little kid in the 80s that had like Masters of the Universe on the chest and like the real tight, the wrist cuffs on them and then on your feet too. They're like, they were blue or whatever. But this guy's like fucking dinosaurs on them, and it's like, what is going on here?
Somehow he still manages to get some ass in the movie. I don't like. No one else is alarmed by this man's pajamas in his life.
Yeah. So he's kind of like he's upset. He's wearing sunglasses at school, and he don't want to talk to the chick because he's shy of his sunglasses, and he's starting to get visions and hear in audio hallucinations of, hey, someone's gonna die, and then you see somebody dying, getting slashed. And there's some pretty cool effects in it. I'm not going to deny. I mean, they're not necessarily on-screen effects. It's mostly like blood splatter. But it's more after the effects. You see the knife stuck in something. You don't see the knife going into anything, but you see the knife stuck in something, if that makes sense. And it's a really cool looking knife with like a bone handle. And then, and it's like, so they kind of play the story. It's like, is he killing him? Is somebody killing him? But yeah, it kind of comes down the pike that, it's one of his homies got possessed. And I don't want to give too much away about the movie.
Yeah.
And then is that her brother, one of the bullies? He's like, hey, get the fuck out of here. Like,
I didn't pick up whether it was a brother or not, one way or the other.
Yeah, it was weird. Oh no, it was like, is one of the chicks that dies brother.
Oh, that may be it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm here to warn you. She's gonna die.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then she ended up dying. And then he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you with the shotgun. And then they kind of become buddies, and they trap Virgil. And Virgil comes out of nowhere, and it's filmed in Mexico, which is cool. So you kind of, I like the way it was filmed. It's completely a Mexican film. If you just look at the background, the cars, the cops, the hospital. If you're familiar with like any type of Mexican cinema, you just know it's a Mexican film. The voices are all dubbed, and they're all Mexican actors, even though they look white.
Oh, nice.
But hey, in Mexico City, you can find more white actors.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they're from Mexico. But yeah, so people are just kind of getting slaughtered, and he's watching it happen through his red eye trance. And I don't want to give away the ending at all. But it's a steady paced film. I feel like I cared about the characters. I liked the character development, even though the dubbing was a little corny. You do get with a lot of the movies. I cared about the main character, the guy, and we didn't have like a chick who was like, like in most slasher movies, because this is a Mexican slasher movie, and a lot of these 80s slasher movies, you get like the final girl, and in this one, it was not a final girl; it was like the final guy, and you care about him, you care about his love interest, you care about his relationship with his friends and his mom and his absent father, and the gore isn't half bad. And after I watched it, I was like, I had a marinade on it for a while, because I'm like, did I really like that, or did I not like it? Yeah. But I felt like I was kind of a little bit above middle of the road on it, so I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I don't disagree with that at all. Actually, that's kind of where I sit on it. And it's actually got a nice Blu-ray release of it now. I think Vinegar Syndrome put the Blu-ray out.
Right.
But I did like, so it does have these moments of like just really silly dialogue.
Sure.
But it's never a full like conversation. It's more just like a silly like for instance, there's a scene where at the very beginning they're playing the Ouija board at his house, and he gets mad at his friends, and he's like, I want to go home. I'm like, you fucking are home, dude. They're in your house. What do you mean you're gonna go home? And then later on, when he reconnects with the girl and they're at her house for dinner, like they just fucking go out, they just run and leave the house in a frenzy, and the father's like, don't go don't take my daughter, don't run away with my daughter, and he doesn't even like bother chasing them out of the house. The dad just stands there and lets them take off. I'm like, what the actual fuck? Like, it's just like there's several silly moments like that in the movie that just kind of, none of it's gut busting laughter, and I don't even think it's really intentional. It's just little funny things that I really enjoyed about it, and you know, I liked how he kind of saw the visions and all that, and like I commented earlier about the red eyes, I thought actually was really cool. So yeah, I think it's a solid film that deserved a nice Blu-ray release of it. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I think 3 out of 5 for Don't Panic is
definitely, man, definitely.
Easy.
Yeah, easily 3 out of 5. It's Don't Panic, 1988, and again, if you can get past the dubbing of the voices, because it's not an originally American. I'd love to see the Spanish version if they have one, but I don't think that they do.
Well, they may have the Spanish version on that new Blu-ray that just came out. So I haven't checked the special features, but that could be have the Spanish version on there. But
it did look like it suffered from trying to get its actors to speak English and dubbing their voices in over it. So it didn't look like that they were speaking Spanish, but it looked like some were possibly speaking Spanish. So who knows? But the entire cast is completely from Mexico. So yeah, love the shit out of it for the most part. Didn't hate it. It didn't, knock my socks off 100% completely, but yeah, definitely a 3 out of 5. And again, like I just, the way he talked, his kind of the way he looked, the killer, the protagonist guy,
right.
Just the way, I don't know, just the way he was, I guess you could say, the way he's kind of a smart ass. And I mean, even though he didn't have claws and he wasn't bald, but he definitely he had that Freddy vibe to him for sure. And that's kind of like, I just had a Nightmare on Elm Street vibe to this movie. I don't know.
I gotcha.
I could be reaching, but that's the feeling I got. So, not bad, guys. Check it out. Don't Panic, 1988. And
it's next, also streaming on Shudder, by the way, for anybody.
Oh, and Tubi.
I wanted to watch it. Is it on Tubi too? Okay.
Yeah. I believe it's on Tubi, and yeah, it's a fun movie. So check it out. All right, guys. Up next, we're gonna go ahead and listen to the trailer for Xander's pick. Don't get confused with the satirical shit. It is 1990s scary movie, and we'll be right back.
It's a quiet Halloween night. For just a few dollars, this place offers more than a few thrills.
This year, we're going to give more than their money's worth.
Are you going to get a ticket, or are you going to get a ticket?
Psycho killer escapes on Halloween night. Yeah, right.
I must have taken a wrong turn, or...
Dang right, you took a wrong turn, or...
All right, guys. So there's the trailer for Xander's pick for 1990 scary movie. Let her rip.
All right, so sorry. 1991 scary movie is starring John Hawkes as the lead character. You may recognize Mr. Hawkes from some actually kind of high-end films. Like he's been in the Peanut Butter Falcon, three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, Winter's Bone. Just been in all kinds of stuff, man. He's been around a long time. The Deadwood movie he was in. So, yeah, he's a solid actor, but he's earlier on in his career, and I think he does an awesome job in this movie.
Dude,
for sure.
He's fucking great.
Yeah. So the story here is it's a Halloween night, and there's Warren, which is the main guy, who's kind of this nerdy, kind of anxious creature who was going to a carnival type event, or is it a carnival or like a haunted house thing.
It's kind of like, and it's yeah, it's a carnival / haunted house in a small town. I mean,
Yeah, it's just a small town event.
I know that you live in a larger city, but I can kind of relate. Here where we live in Albuquerque, we Albuquerque is the main town, and then east of Albuquerque, it's called the East Mountains. So the Rocky Mountains shoot straight through New Mexico. A lot of people don't know that. And so right on the other side of the mountains of Albuquerque, you can drive. It's pretty Hicksville still.
Yeah.
And I can say that, and it's funny because there is a lot of farmland out there, but it's very kind of it feels very rednecky back there. Yes, in New Mexico we have rednecks, but they're not rednecks. But it feels rednecky because a lot of them dress like we just call them Hicks. A lot of them dress like cowboys. They wear cowboy pants and fucking shit, boots and all that. But there's a place out there called McCall's Pumpkin Patch, and it's where back in the East Mountains where they grow a ton of pumpkins, for Halloween. But they ended up turning it McCall's Pumpkin Patch into a corn maze, and then they built these amazing fucking haunted houses on there, like this movie.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It's what it feels like for sure.
Yeah.
But so he goes on a blind date with I guess his friend and his girlfriend, and they're all there in like a group of 4 people. And he's just awkward the whole time. But there's
they don't
also,
act like friends. Sorry.
No, they don't. Like he seems like he picks on him like a little brother. It feels like, right?
This dude's super awkward.
Yeah, and like I don't know in what world those people would actually hang out together, but they do. But there's another part of the story is that there's a guy from Texas mental institution whose truck in transit like gets in a car accident and he breaks free, and it's not far from this the carnival. And the weird awkward kid kind of overhears it over the police scanner, and he kind of tells everybody about it and is kind of awkward laughing about it. And it's just them waiting in line to go into this haunted house, and he's getting like more and more nervous as he gets closer. And then it gets out, everybody finds out that the guy's loose or whatever from the accident. They haven't found him yet. And then people start dying inside of this haunted house, and you're watching Warren navigate his, like, he's scared of everything. Like he's so clumsy. He's anxious. Everything that he does is just like, the whole fucking time. And the whole movie, he's just trying to get through this fucking haunted house, right? And he's the main focal point in the entire movie. Like once you get to a certain point, like you don't really see anybody but him and him being chased by the killer.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. And I definitely do not want to give away the ending on this one. Because I thought it was fantastic. So this was also put out by American Film Genre Association, which is it's like a label under the Arrow universe, and they release a lot of these like weird movies like this that have never had. This has never had a physical release before.
Really?
Until this came out. And this was last year. It's part of the collection too.
How was it just a lost movie, or?
I think it was on VHS. It never had a like formal release until now.
Okay.
So, yeah, but it is, it's a good ride. There's lots of cool. There's fucking one dude in this movie that I swear to God, he's a background character, but he pops up throughout the whole movie, and he just laughs. It's this big dude in a red shirt and a giant woolly beard, and he's just always in the frame, just like laughing his ass off, usually at the expense of Warren and what like the mean shitty things his friends have done to him or whatever the fuck is going on.
Just standing in line waiting to get into this place.
Yeah. And there's like a loose, like, so he does kind of, so his blind date is weird as fuck. Like she's a klepto that steals everything. Like she's got a purse full of salt from the restaurant and just all sorts of random shit. And she keeps trying to feed him throughout the movie. Like she's giving him force feeding him Twizzlers and candy corn, like against it, like like against his will. It's like such an awkward, like, all right, just a weird little thing to put into this movie to make it all weird. But I enjoyed how it all unfolds at the end. I think it's pretty great. There's not a ton of like, I mean, there's blood in this movie, don't get me wrong, but it's not like super duper violent, right? Like a lot of the blood that you see is just the set at the haunted house.
Right.
Like there's not like people like, not a ton of crazy on-screen deaths in this at all. However, but it didn't bother me because I was really just kind of enjoying Warren's performance on screen. I thought it was just silly, maniacal. It just did a really good job of playing the guy that's like losing his fucking mind. And
yeah, he comes off like just super fucking like anxious anxiety person. He's scared of his own shadow. He's, it's one of those weird things to where it's like, yeah, it's hard to explain. He's yes, he's scared of his own shadow, but he everybody kind of bullies him into shit. You know what I mean? In a weird way. Like this kid obviously does not want to go into the haunted house. He feels obligated to go in there.
Right. And it's not even he's not trying to impress the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not that. He's just like so meek-mannered, like he would just do whatever the group is going to do. Like whatever the masses he's with to tell him to do something, he will do it just because he's non-confrontational and just kind of goes with it.
Yeah, he he's just, and then the way the camera, it almost has like that weird type of like Evil Dead pan. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
focuses like really hard on his face.
Yeah, like when he falls in the pit thing, I could totally see that.
Yeah, he's like, he's tripping the fuck out. But yeah, man, I mean, for the most part, I think one of the funnier parts of the movie is that background guy that's just laughing at him.
Yeah,
and I just like the feel of it because it just feels like, how could I explain it? It just feels like it's such a small budget movie. You could tell it's like one location, all like on this little chunk of land that these guys built a haunted house on that you walk through. One of those walkthrough houses, one of those shock jump scare fucking haunted houses. It just, how could I explain? It just felt like a cozy, fun movie. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and like, so like we've said already, like Warren drives this movie. Like you don't really give a shit about anybody else in the movie, like not even a little, because Warren just steals the show the whole time. Like everything else is just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Except, and like the guy standing there laughing all the time is the one that stands out of any other character in the movie.
Yeah.
And I do love the mask that the little killer has.
Yeah.
With the big teeth and exaggerated eyes.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Cool.
Yeah, that like kind of Grim Reaper looking thing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. There's just a lot to love about this movie, man.
And it's short too. It's like 80 minutes long.
Not long at all.
Yeah, it's fine. It moves right along.
No. And it just, the funny thing about this movie is, in my opinion, like, it's all his own fucking doing. Do you know what I mean?
But he gets himself in stupid situations.
Yes.
Like the easy thing to do, like he could have easily gotten through the haunted attraction if he just stayed with his fucking friends, and you know what I mean? Like he finds ways to get distracted and gets in his own head, and he's like, next thing you know, he turns up and everybody's gone. He's like, oh fuck. He does that like 3 times in the movie where he catches back up to him and gets lost. Catches back up to him and gets lost. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't want to be here. Keep going straight and follow your friends, you fucking idiot.
Right.
But he can't help himself.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that trips over his own shoelaces. that's the only way I could explain it. He trips over his own shoelaces and he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah. That's love it when he was stepping all over the pumpkins. When he's trying to stand on the pile of pumpkins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, the fucking stuck in his shoe, and then
I'm like, dude, just roll down the pile. Don't keep trying to stand up. It's not going well.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, man. Like, and then there's like, God, you can't, we don't want to give it away, dude, but it's such a fucking cool ending, man. Like,
yeah,
it's so cool. It's just so fucking, the way it fucking just shakes down at the end, man. And let's just say it right here, man. This is a fucking Halloween movie.
It is, absolutely.
Straight the fuck up
on Halloween night.
Yes, and it's so fun, and it's so 80s. Like, I want to say this movie was probably filmed like in '89. Do you know what I mean? It seems like, I mean, it was a release date in 1990, but it does have the 80s feel to it. You know,
100%.
The big hair, the mullets, and what's his name? Jonathan Hawks. Sorry, but
yeah, John Hawks. Yeah,
yeah, he's. I mean, dude, this fucking dude's like a badass actor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I mean, like this.
You can get that through the performance here, because like one of the main things that like he this sounds so stupid when I say it, but like his eye, like he can act with his like however he's doing, like his facial expressions and the use of his eyes is very like alert, and just I don't know, he just can kind of see, you can see what's going through his head just by the look on his face, and you're like, what? Okay, it's crazy. You're like, yeah, this guy's got some talent. What's he doing in this movie?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like, was this like his first movie?
I didn't look. I don't think it's his first movie, but it's an early movie. It may be his first like lead role.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's man, it's just a fun movie, dude. I can't put my finger on enough of just how I loved the way how just it was low budget as fuck. Do not get me wrong, but just all the stuff kind of going on in it in the background. There's so much, like just them standing in line, because a good majority of the movie is them fucking standing in line waiting to get into the fucking haunted house.
Yeah,
and there's other weird shit going on. Don't get me wrong, but they're not his friends. He goes with his friend, and then they put him on a blind date, like you said, and this chick is like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Oh, so look, I just looked at the IMDb to see if it's not his first role. He had quite a few roles before then, and a bunch of TV stuff too. However, fun fact, he is the liquor store clerk in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. Yep. He totally is. That's why I remember when I fucking saw him on Deadwood. I don't know if you're a fan of it or ever watched it. He's in Deadwood. And, I mean, he's got a pretty big role in it. And then he's Kenny Powers' brother. He's in so much shit.
Yeah, I'm saying he's a top level actor for sure.
Yeah. It's go ahead.
I guess we didn't rate it yet. We just keep talking about it.
No, because I'm 5 out of 5 for me, dude.
Yeah. I think it's a nice hug. I don't know if it's 5 out of 5. I give it a 4 for me. I'll give it a 4 for sure.
I'll take it. Okay.
Yeah, 4.
We'll go 4. I mean, it could have had a better budget. The gore was fine. It wasn't that great, but it's just funny, dude. All the actors in it. It slowly became like a good Halloween film.
Yeah, I'll watch it again for sure. I'll probably pick up a physical copy of this one as soon as I see it. But yeah, it is like like you said, it kind of felt like a warm hug.
Yes.
But it just kind of did. And I realized somebody's going to watch the movie like, these guys are fucking stupid. This movie is not that good. And to you, we say to each his own. But it's pretty fucking good ride.
Yeah. It's a fun dude. Yeah, 4 out of 5 is good. I mean, so all right. So yeah, man. I mean, it's
watch
a fun
it.
one, dude.
It's on Arrow Player. You can They also have the Blu-ray, but I think it's on Arrow and Tubi. So if nothing else, go watch it on Tubi if you guys don't have any of those things. It's worth the watch, I tell you, for sure.
Yeah, it's Tubi's fun. You can sit through, but you can go to Arrow, pay for Arrow, or you can fucking, I don't know. I sat through the commercials. I thought it was fun, and it's like a fun transfer too. Like they really did their best on cleaning it up, from a VHS copy. You could tell. Transfer's okay. It's not like super crisp, but you can tell. But it's still beautiful.
Yeah, it's not a 4K transfer.
Yeah.
But it guarantee it looks better than anything else we had before. So.
Yeah. So, with that being said, dude, good pick this week. I do want to point out the fact that both of our movies had like male leads in them.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting.
Uncommon.
So very, very, very weird for late 80s horror movies to have the final girl be a guy.
Right.
I mean, you get it sometimes, but which was what made popular by what's his name from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Oh yeah, Mark Patton.
Yes. The whatchamacallit, Scream Queen, or whatever that movie was. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, that was great. That documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, Scream Queen was really pretty good.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was a fun little documentary. I liked it. I didn't know he went through all that shit in Hollywood.
Neither did I. I didn't realize that that was kind of the end of his career.
Yeah. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, like, oh, all right.
Yeah, very strange. Hollywood is weird in the 80s. Well, it's weird now.
It's still weird.
Hollywood's fucking. Let's call Holly weird. It's weird. They live in their own little bubble, and that what happens within their bubble doesn't happen in our bubble.
We don't get. Did you ever watch the documentary Kid 90?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it's Soleil Moon Frye, which is the girl that was Punky Brewster in the 80s.
Yes.
And it's about, basically at that point in time, there was only a very small circle of child actors in the biz that were continuously getting work. And so she was friends with all of them. You got Brian Austin Green and Mark Paul Gosselaar and all these famous, Steven Dorff is in there a lot as a kid. But she used to carry around a camcorder, and she would just film them doing shit all the time. So she has all this footage of all these people just being kids together, and they fucking go out to somewhere in Northern California and they all fucking eat mushrooms together, and she's filming everybody.
Whoa.
And having conversations with what's going on in their life. And ultimately the movie's about or the documentary's about she had all this footage and all these things, and she didn't revisit it until she decided to make this documentary.
Okay.
And she looked at it, and she's looking back at it now, seeing all this footage. Half those kids committed suicide, right?
Wow.
And she's like, I have every red flag in front of me with everything, all the footage that I have, but I was too young to understand or comprehend and caught up in my own world to really know what to do with it. She's like, but all the red flags are here. And it's her coming to the realization and kind of forgiving herself for not being a good friend to these people that, it was weird. And it just talks about the weird Hollywood culture a lot within the kids, kid acting world. It's just a little bit different. Sure. So anyways, not the tangent, but that's a really cool documentary on Hulu. It's great.
I'll have to check it out, man.
Yeah.
Funny story. I went to high school with two very, very popular actors. And one of them moved. The only reason why his mom had him here was because she didn't want him to be influenced by Hollywood. She moved him as far away from Hollywood as she could think and raised him in a normal life, but he ended up going in that life, which he's successful, which it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Freddie Prinze Jr., we went to high school with him, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't put it together, and I was a cinephile in Hollywood, but I was more of horror action type of kid.
Right. Because his dad was an actor too, right?
Yeah, Freddie Prinze.
Yeah.
And he was famously committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I think after that, his mom had moved him here to Albuquerque just to say, you know what, we're not doing it. You know what I mean? We're getting out of Hollywood. It killed your dad because he was his dad was addicted to drugs, all that shit. And his dad was a famous comedian, and but I mean, you look at Freddie Prinze Jr. now, but him in high school, dude, he was like a chubby kid drama nerd.
And like now he's with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, forever. And I'm like, he was a total like just. I remember Freddie. I mean, didn't run in the same circle with him. I just remember his face. You know what I mean? And then my cousin, and they were a few years older than me, but Neil Patrick Harris. Oh. Yeah, my cousin went to prom with him, and I was like, "Oh, so it was your vagina that turned him gay?" And she's like, "Shut up!" She get all pissed at me. I just think he got that gig while he went to high school with us.
Oh,
for the Doogie Howser, remember that?
Yeah. You should watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, he was in high school with us when he got that gig, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's this popular actor," you know. And, but yeah, it's weird how you do see that red flag shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say that from the group I hung out with, dude. There's shit. If you take 16 to a dozen to 16 kids that I hung out with, I would say 6 of them are gone.
Yeah.
All drug related or suicide. It's crazy. You look back, fucking nuts. It's nuts, dude.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a really cool documentary. Also, didn't know that Punky Brewster dated Danny Boy from House of Pain for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like ran around with him.
She's very pretty. She grew up to be a very beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new show. I'm not really.
I haven't watched it either.
I'm not a big network TV guy, to be honest.
She's in Pumpkinhead too.
Is she?
Yeah, she's in Pumpkinhead too. Yeah.
Blood Wings, huh?
Yeah, that show is only on Peacock. It's not actually on.
Oh, okay.
It's on NBC's streaming service, but it's not on NBC Weekly. So
just kind of segue back around full circle. That was another thing I watched on Peacock was that John Wayne Gacy documentary.
Thought he was on Discovery Plus.
That is one on Discovery Plus as well.
Oh,
there's two. There's one on Discovery Plus called The Candyman and the Clown. So it draws conclusions between him being the clown and there was another serial killer they called the Candyman in Texas. His name is Dean Corll, and he had the same MO as John Wayne Gacy, which is kind of weird. He just wasn't as popular for some reason, but he was burying teenage boys. He was gay and all that stuff. He's a pedophile, and he was in his boathouse. He was burying teenage boys, but he had accomplices, and he used other teenage boys to help him. You know what I mean? Lure these teenage boys in. But then there was they kind of ran in these weird, similar pedophile circles. I don't know. It's so weird, but I would check out the Candyman and the Clown and the Candyman, and it's very disgusting, And then you got the John Wayne Gacy documentary on Peacock, which is pretty fucking good. He's like, "No, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I like to go down the guy sometimes, but I'm not gay." It's like, dude, you're gay.
It's cool. No one cares.
Nobody cares, bro. I'm liberal. I let people do what they want to do. I'm a liberal guy. Anybody can ask me. I'm a card-carrying Democrat. I'm not gay. It's like, dude, it's funny because I've read a book on John Wayne Gacy, and the whole time when he was a little kid, his dad called him a queen, called him a fairy. Just, oh, dude, it's like, dude, you're gay. You're just coming out of the closet. It's like, I feel like between him and fucking what's his name? The guy who ate people. What am I forgetting? Dahmer. Yeah. Between those two guys, had they had just a caring hand in high school and adolescence to be like, hey, it's cool if you're gay. It's cool if you have weird fucking fantasies. Just don't act on them. You're not a fucking monster. You know what I mean? People think weird shit all the time. I think those dudes wouldn't have been serial killers.
Right, yeah. Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, like if they just it's cool. Like, hey, bro.
If they weren't treated like dog shit their whole life, maybe they wouldn't have been serial killers.
Yeah, like and just the times they grew up in, you know what I mean? It was just this is fucking rough, you know. But all right, man. We got deep on the end of this podcast.
I know we rambled for a little while. That's all good.
Deep. It's okay because it's all staying in.
That's right. We don't cut it.
We're not cutting. And then, are we doing something with some special guests here soon?
We are. We might do one episode before they join us. So maybe 2 episodes from now. I can't remember. Yeah, we'll probably record something before they come on. But we're gonna have the hosts of the Friday Nightmares, Miss Heather Powell and Smoke Show Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
Will both be joining us for some sort of antics. I've yet to be decided. But yeah, they're both gonna hop on. So we're stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Did I tell you how I was pissing Scott off? I was photoshopping my head over his head. Did you catch that? Like, so it was Miss Heather Powell's birthday a little while back, about 10 days ago or so. And you know, he's putting out. He's met up with her in person. You know, they did some convention stuff in.
Yeah, they went to Motor City Nightmares. Is that what they
went? Yeah. And so he's putting up a lot of pictures of himself with her. And you know, what I was doing was I was photoshopping my head over his head. It's like, oh, Heather, it was great to meet you, and everybody was buying it. He's like, you fucking dick. It was great. It was so funny, dude. It was just, and then they're just like these they weren't even nonchalant pictures. They were pictures of me after I got home from the gym with my hair all fucked up, and you know what I mean? It's just like stupid shit. And he's like, you asshole. Like, oh, it was so fucking funny. Yeah, we'll figure something out, man. We'll figure it out. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Until next time, you can catch us on the flip side. And I can't wait to see what we do with them guys. And maybe we'll deliver a show between now and then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll powwow. We got to have a chat about what we want to do. So we'll do that off air.
Yeah, let's stick to more schlock. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you soon. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks so much. See you next time.
And bye.
You've been listening to the Cemetery Gates podcast, featuring Android Virus and Xander Kane. Follow us on Twitter at Android Virus, at Xander_Kane, and at Cemetery Gates 66.